Welcome to Founders Field Notes, the podcast where founders can learn from founders how to be founders. I'm Jason Klug, CEO and founder of Klugonyx Group, the company that makes everything. Hit us up. This week's episode, we have a friend of mine and my wife's, Madelyne Van Hoff. I've known her for quite some time now, and it's been awesome to see her in her journey, bouncing around from a variety of different things, and now founding a new and exciting company, which you'll learn about in today's podcast. Early on, she founded other things such as Mustang Media with her husband, as well as Tangible School, which I have not only gone to, but thoroughly enjoyed. And my wife was fortunate enough to teach UX at that program. And it helped many e-commerce companies learn from other e-commerce business owners. And now she has her current company, ShareHouse, which is a female-founded venture-backed company here in Utah, which is built to support the e-commerce ecosystem. So listen in and learn from Madelyne, who has built a lot of very valuable experience in marketing, communications, and just hear from someone that is an incredible executor. Not only do a lot of other founders need executors on their team, but now that she is a founder and an executor, she could be pretty dangerous. So without further ado, here's Madelyne that went from working at the bottom at New York events to now running her own venture capitally backed company, ShareHouse, here in Utah. I have a resume for you.
Okay. I'm so interested to see what's on this list.
It says you've been an entrepreneur for 10 plus years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I only know you from Tangible. So
Tangible was what, 5 years ago?
Yeah. What's pre-Tangible? What was the first entrepreneurial?
Oh my gosh. I don't think I'm naturally an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
But I know how to do a lot of things.
Are people? I guess maybe
Totally. Scott Paul, right?
Yeah.
No?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I guess even thinking back to even in college, I dropped out of college when I made my first dollar without a job.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, why do I have to work for people? I literally was selling. I would throw parties for the other fraternities, not even my own, and charge them to throw a party at this bar that I built a relationship with. And I sat in the back of the bar and ran a little side hustle out of it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I guess it's natural.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, so 10 years ago.
Yeah, so my husband and I have done several businesses together. And he runs his own businesses and I'm just as part of those, a part of those as he is. Similar to you and Kelsey, you know?
And he's a musician, right?
He's a musician.
Yeah.
And he licenses a lot of music.
Oh.
So he licenses music for TV shows, commercials, movies. He's had a Ford commercial, a McDonald's commercial. He's had a commercial for YouTube TV when YouTube TV was just launching during the Super Bowl.
That's cool.
Yeah, that first year that YouTube TV launched and they actually aired the Super Bowl on YouTube TV, he had a commercial during that.
That's
so that
amazing.
Cool. Yeah,
I didn't know
he's
that.
done some cool things. He's had at least 6 national TV placements on TV shows.
So does he have a home studio then that he just records his stuff?
Yeah, he has a home studio. He also works in lots of studios.
Cool.
Yeah.
So is he the type too that could jump to a guitar and then get on the drums and do the drum set and then get on the piano?
Yeah, he can jump to anything but drums.
Okay.
I mean, I think he can play around, but it's just not his favorite.
Yeah.
So yeah, but he can jump on the piano, jump on the guitar, kind of move back and forth between multiple instruments. He also owns a company that provides corporate entertainment for really high-end events. So he'll do a lot here in Utah, like in Park City, Deer Valley, a lot in Jackson. He does do a little bit of traveling for that, but you'd actually be really surprised how many high-end events happen here in Utah.
Yeah.
At
the resorts and stuff.
Yeah, at the resorts, there's several big, beautiful ranches that they'll book the entire place. And so he either will book entertainers that he knows or he'll go himself and bring his guys.
Oh, that's sweet.
And it's awesome. I mean, that is the most fun.
It's also pretty flexible, I'm guessing.
So flexible.
Yeah.
I mean, he can do one event a week and work less than 10 hours a week and
that's incredible.
Clean up really nice. He's a lot of fun doing that. He's to the point where the business just comes to him. So that's good. You know, COVID was a little bit of a different situation. Everything was on hold, but it's come back with a vengeance and he's had some fun.
But he's still able during COVID to make the home recordings for videos and stuff like that, I'm guessing. Is that
he
what
got his McDonald's commercial in 2020. So that was end of 2020, I believe. he just has a lot of contacts all over LA, Nashville, New York. And there's a big studio in Malibu called Shangri-La. The main guy who runs that studio is a friend of Travis's and worked on an album of Travis's from years ago. And he called him and pulled him into that gig. He's like, yeah, McDonald's can't, we've had all these vocalists come in and do this and they don't like it. And Trav was in Nashville at the time. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't help on this one. I'm in Nashville. And they were like, it's fine. We'll book a studio for you in Nashville. So they booked some big studio in Nashville, like Blackbird Studio or something. It's like a studio that, all the country kings and queens have been in. Travis shows up at the studio, for this dumb commercial. And it's like a really big time studio. So he cut it there and sent it over, and then they had some edits, but he was already home. So he just made the edits in our house, and that's the McDonald's commercial.
That's sweet.
It's funny.
You don't think about that when you watch, like YouTube and commercials pop up. Actually, I got rid of the ads now. I can't do them anymore.
Yeah, I know, you should pay.
But either way, you don't think about who's making that music. Someone's sitting at home making it, making a good living, just making music for it. That's sweet. Yeah.
So he'll either license his existing music, or he'll do the jingle type stuff where it's very personalized for whoever the client is. He's been in the music industry forever. We met in LA when, over 15 years ago in Orange County, and then LA. He was doing the pop punk thing and touring Warped Tour, and
that's sweet.
They had a song featured on MTV when MTV still played music, before the Teen Mom thing. Now Warped Tour's gone, but that was where he first kind of started his whole journey.
So you got a taste for entrepreneurialism with him.
Totally. And then he kind of is always working ideas, and he's a big outdoorsman. We got married in New York, but we have to live out west, right? Because the mountains, and he can't be away from them. I mean, I love it too, but he has so much gear, and he goes on so many outdoorsy trips that he was like, let's just make a thing out of this. Why are we buying all the gear? Why don't I just pitch an idea? I'm a good enough photographer, videographer, and I have a drone. Why don't I just pitch an idea to all these brands that I want gear from and see if they'll give us gear? To your point, the TikTok user-generated content, he's like, we'll just create content for them that shows their products in application.
And then keep it.
And then keep all the gear.
Yeah.
So he started this kind of side hustle just for fun. It ramped really fast.
So he's a videographer as well?
No, I mean, no, but yeah, he has a nice camera.
Cool.
And
he figure it out.
He can figure it out.
He can tell
he's
a story.
Just one of those.
So he's a creative.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Such a creative. It's an outlet for him. And he's a writer, and, Then we launched that. It just kind of fell into our laps. We launched Wild Mustang Media, which is a marketing agency that creates content for outdoor brands, and it's just shows their products and application. And that was, it was more for fun, but at one point we planned this massive trip to the most densely populated bear country in Yellowstone, and we wanted to take all our friends, but it required a lot of very specific gear. And so Travis just got it all sponsored and pulled his sister in, who's just an Amazonian model, and other friends and family members were like, okay, we have a good enough looking group here, this could be something. Pitched the idea, got a ton of free gear, and then got a bunch of just pay on top of it.
Yeah.
So it paid for the whole trip. We bus everyone out there in sprinters. Everyone stays in hotels the night before. It pays for all the canoes. We're canoeing across lakes and pulling them up rivers. We're going miles and miles back. It's 30 miles round trip, camping back there. And we have all this perfect gear, and all we have to do is take a couple photos of it and send it their way. And so, that was another one that just kind of fell in our laps and has been fun. And it's paid for some fun, big group trips and just kind of stupid stuff.
Yeah, but that's cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
You just got to always sell whatever you're doing.
Yeah, he's always sending me stuff. He's been sending me lately trucks. Should we buy this truck and turn it into something? I'm like, no, we shouldn't. Why? What do you want to do with this truck? But that's just how his brain works.
Turn into a camper or something?
No, he wants to turn it into a mobile coffee shop that he goes and parks up in
So food truck style.
I don't even know.
Thing.
I'm what are we where are we going with this now? And then the next week it's something else. And sometimes we chase them and sometimes we don't. Just depends.
Yeah. No, I mean I've met a lot of people like that. I mean, I was that for the longest time. I still kind of am that, but
like before I started Durai, I always had an idea every week until one hit, and then Durai was the one that I was like, okay, this is it. And then I had Kelsey, and I had the other side of things that I needed lined
the door
up.
opened.
Yeah. So,
right.
But I meet people like that all the time, and then all of a sudden one does hit for them. Then they jump after it and make it happen. And it's because they've had so much pent up entrepreneurialism, they dive into it and they're like, all right, this isn't working. And then they make it happen.
Yeah.
So I always try to stay in touch with people like that. Because, the time something does hit, it will,
Yeah, he's such a Travis is so much fun. Like, I'm the boring one. He's like the ultra fun, and we balance each other out, like.
That's like Kelsey and I.
Such a good mix. Yeah, for sure. I don't think you've met Travis, have you?
Briefly.
Yeah.
You guys came by at one point.
Yeah, we got to get together. He's like, you got to it takes like a couple times to really, he's not quiet. He's just like chill.
So you get a taste of entrepreneurialism from him.
He helps
working
me,
with him, and then
for sure.
And then when was your first thing that you did? Was it
by myself without him? Tangible. I was always kind of side hustling way back in the day. I was doing corporate events. So I worked in corporate events for 5 years. And I was always kind of side hustling during that time even, and thinking of ways that we could productize what we offered. Because initially I worked for a company that had multiple restaurants, multiple event centers, and multiple catering companies all under the same umbrella. And so we could kind of do it all. And I was there to manage everything. So on average, we would have 11 events a day.
Oh, wow.
And so that was
lot.
in all the spaces or at other locations where we were just doing food. So at that time, I got my own floral license. And I was like, cool, everybody's asking for flowers. I'm sick of pointing them in this direction. They just want something dumb and simple. I'm not a florist, but I'll do it. And so I was able to kind of start this little side hustle and do the flowers for the events and make extra money on the side of my normal gig. And then it grew to the point where we actually had to bring it in-house. And that's something that we offered.
Oh, wow.
I think a little bit in that way, but I'm less risk averse, or I'm more risk averse. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm less risky.
Are you still less or risk adverse, do you think? Or do you think that's changed now that you've started to take bigger and bigger risks? Do you think
I don't know.
You get more and more numb to it?
I don't know. I don't know if it's you get more and more numb to it, but I think it also depends on kind of where you're at in your personal life.
Yeah.
If you have a nest egg that you're sitting on, I think that helps, and it relieves that anxiety that you feel, that financial pressure. You never want to have too much financial pressure on the business, because if you do, you're making bad decisions and you're not being creative.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I feel like I lived that.
Early on, I had nothing when I started Klugonyx. I think I had $18,000 to my name.
Right. Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, it was scary.
It's really scary. And so if you don't know, I don't know. It's so interesting. I was interviewed by a journalist for a publication last week. It was so fun because he was start at the beginning. Just tell me. I'm like, what do you mean the beginning? He's like, where were you born? I'm like, oh, the beginning. The very, very beginning.
Yeah.
But it was really fun because I hadn't walked through kind of the highlights of my life, I don't know, ever, or at least in a very long time. And especially not out loud. My parents went through a really messy divorce when I was in high school, when I was 15. And we went from having a very comfortable life to my siblings and I and my mom. We didn't have a house. We didn't have cars. We didn't have phones. My mom couldn't even afford food. So we're living in people's random houses for temporary periods of time until we were able to get to a more stable situation. And
was this in California?
No, this was here.
Oh, it was in Utah.
Yeah, I'm from here originally. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting to experience that feeling of well, there's nowhere else to go but up. If when you've lost everything and there's really nothing else to lose, that's a freedom that I almost wish everyone could have or feel without living that. Because it builds confidence in you that no matter what happens, you can figure it out. And so, things were hard for a few years. And then I moved to California at 18, almost 19. And
by yourself?
By myself. Okay. My sister was living in California as well. She's 4 years older than me. She was living out there, but I didn't move in with her. She was kind of just hustling, doing the same thing. She at least had a college degree and was working like trying to build a life. But yeah, I rented a garage in a house in Huntington Beach initially. Yeah, it was like $1,000 a month, and it was a true garage. It was not a converted garage, but California's warm enough all year round. You just do it. And yeah, it was so much money for me at such a young age that like I couldn't even afford to eat, but it worked out, you know, like you just like hustle and get dates with guys and they buy you dinner and it works out.
That's great.
Anyway, but yeah, that drive or like that fear of failure or like fear of things not working out. I think I'm naturally more anxious, but I think that some of those life experiences kind of set me up with some confidence that no matter what, it would work out. So I did the California thing, and later I moved to New York, and it was I did not have plans. I had no job. I had very little money in my account. I knew I could live for maybe 6 weeks, but I knew I wanted to do it. And I was like, well, like at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, I'll just move home. Like big deal. I'll just like move back here and like move in with friends and find a job and it'll work out, you know? So honestly though, like the doors have opened and the path has been laid somehow. And I'm just kind of walking through the doors as they open, and people call me and pull me into things like Scott Paul and pulling me into Tangible with Travis Chambers. And actually Travis called me.
Yeah.
But people call me. I kind of attract entrepreneurs because I'm the executor and they're the visionary.
Cool. Yeah, that
like,
makes sense.
This big idea, run with it.
Yeah. That's interesting. I kind of had similar stuff where, I mean, I was sleeping on like a foam pad, but thankfully my rent was only like $400 a month.
Here?
When I start, yeah.
Oh man, yeah,
because I moved here with nothing, I had like maybe I think like a 3-week runway. Yeah. And I got a job at a ski resort.
Love it.
And I worked and snowboarded all season, and then I got a job with Scott.
Oh, nice.
You know, so he exposed
with Armor Active.
Yeah, and that was great because it's like I dropped out of college, you know, and so it was hard. I couldn't get an engineering job, you know, I had like 18 hours left, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. Yeah. And it was great because I found the job for Scott in a sales position on KSL.
Oh, nice.
And I swooped in and got it. And I showed up to the interview, and there's like 9 other dudes, like old guys. And I'm like this young kid, like, I'll sell the shit out of this. Let's go. And then, that was great. Cause then I convinced Scott in the second interview, that I'll do sales for a little bit, but I want to be you don't have an engineer to make these things. So let me do that. And he's like, let's buy a computer. And everybody's like, hold on, Scott, slow down. But thankfully that's what ended up happening.
It worked out.
But that was,
that's so good.
But yeah, it's like, but at the end of the day, I still think, you know, even though like opportunities and stuff popped up for you, I also think that you're making the decision to get after them. Right. Yeah. And so you were put into a position where you had to get after stuff. It wasn't there sitting there waiting for you. So that's ends up being super valuable for you.
Yeah, no, I think you're right on with that. It's a little bit of like opportunity that kind of came, but also I'm out there looking for it. Mm-hmm. I do a lot of work to keep the right mindset. I don't know where it came from, but like naturally, I've just kind of always had like mantras in my head that keep me going. And they define different times in my life. Like when I lived in California specifically, it was a really hard time. I mean, I was so young. I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't making a lot of money. I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't have any friends. So I remember at that time it was hard work pays off. Hard work pays off. Hard work pays off. It's stupid, but like, that's what comes to my mind when the moments get tough, you know, or when I need kind of like a boost of motivation. I'm trying to think, a couple of years ago, I like doubled down. Travis and I both doubled down. We were like, man, like, I think it was like Tangible and maybe like shortly after Tangible. Tangible was kind of crazy because it was startup. So I wasn't taking like barely any salary to pay myself. I had a newborn. I then like was pregnant with another baby. Travis's business was affected a great deal by COVID. And so we were like in a tough position. And that pressure, that financial pressure on the business, I think is painful. It's pressure from me to make this thing work, right? And to like bring in dollars by any means possible, not necessarily making strategic decisions for the future. It was an interesting time. And I think that after that, we doubled down, like we needed to like kind of find our center and get back on the horse a little bit and find a good, healthy mindset. And we committed at that point to to do things every day specifically that would remind us of like what we were doing and what we wanted in life and what we were chasing, like near and far. We would talk often about like winners win and they keep winning because they have that mindset. They're looking for the ways that they're winning today. They're not focusing on the ways that they weren't. And losers lose and they keep losing because of the same reason. They don't necessarily, they're not actually having less opportunity. They're just focusing on the wrong things. And every day it's like, well, my day was crap because like my coffee spilled on me and I got a ticket on the way home from work and then whatever it is. But really, there probably were some good things that happened. They just aren't focusing on that.
Yeah.
And so then, during that kind of rebuilding phase after Tangible, it was winners win. And we would like say it in our heads. We'd say it out loud. And every day even on the worst day when the basement would flood and we'd fix it and then it would flood again. It's like winners win. Like this is nothing. This is nothing
Winners
to us.
win. And
then last year it was the rising tide lifts all boats. We had some really exciting things happen in that winners win year. Big things happened for us. Life-changing, transformative, financially, every way. And so the next year it was the rising tide lifts all boats. And as we felt that rising tide, we were able to see the way that it lifted the boats around us and the boats of our family members and friends and looking for opportunities.
It's like kairetsu.
Totally.
The Japanese business model?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
Cool. I like that. Annual mantras.
We don't it just happens.
That's sweet though.
You've seen my Christmas card. We always have like
I
a
like
thing.
That.
It's
that's
like
great.
I write this Christmas card at the end of the year and it's like there's always a theme. I always know it because it just evolves and comes out of nowhere. This year so far it's been keep your head above the clouds.
That's great.
And it's just naturally come. It's just evolved.
That's cool.
So anyway, who knows if that one will stick all year, but like that's where we're at. Like one of us just starts saying something and it's like let's just keep our head above the clouds. Just like forget about this.
Cool.
We don't need this crap.
Yeah.
Just gotta stay in that right mindset.
You did have like a day job for a short amount of time, didn't you?
Yeah, I got a call. Oh my gosh, it was so
Kelsey
crazy.
told me, I was like, she did?
I know.
Really? Wasn't it like an insurance or something? Is that
near the end of Tangible?
Yeah.
We were like 2 weeks to flatten the curve. 2 weeks to flatten the curve. When's the curve going to get flat? We're like, okay, I'm done. I'm done waiting for this. We closed our funding round with Tangible March 1st of 2020. 2 weeks later, everything shut down.
Right.
We refunded 1,000 students who were scheduled and paid to go through that year.
Terrible.
It was horrible.
But that's great. You got that much momentum though. That's pretty impressive.
In 9 months. So
That's
we raised and closed 9 months in.
Wow.
We raised 9 months. We closed about a year in.
That's sweet.
But then 2 weeks later, COVID. We kept the team employed until September. So from March to September, we were just kind of like dicking around.
That's when I swooped in and got Josh.
I know.
Thank you.
He's the best.
He's
best
the
employee
best.
I've ever had.
I take good care of him.
I know. I hope so. He's the best.
Do you know how often Alyssa and I just sit there and go, I just love Josh.
No,
he's just got this big smile on. I've had really bad days and I walk in and I see Josh there with a smile on his face.
I know.
And it just changes my mood.
I'm telling you, like that guy, he can do anything.
He's amazing.
He can do anything. And there's like no task too big or too small for him. He can do anything.
Yeah.
He's such a good guy. The day I told my board, like, hey guys, we need to hit pause. Let's just like cut our losses.
Yeah.
Hit pause on Tangible for a minute, see what happens in the future. But let's let our team go and help them find soft landing spots.
That's great.
And so we all just kind of pulled our networks. And I think I either reached out to you or Kelsey or maybe Scott did.
We were literally looking for a PM because Alyssa was going on her first leave. So it was perfect timing.
Yes, that's right.
Perfect timing.
Could not have been more perfect.
And then same with Cora, because Alyssa went on another leave.
Yeah.
And then we found Cora, and she's also been amazing. And then her and Josh had this like dynamic duo thing going when Alyssa was out. It was yeah.
I want to say something on that, actually. I want to say something on that in a minute. So we kind of helped our team find a soft landing. And the day that I let the team go officially, I got a call from a friend in private equity, working for a private equity firm in San Francisco. And he said, we just bought this company in LA. We're moving the headquarters to Salt Lake. And we need to hire a management team to help stand this thing up. And he's like, we've interviewed several people for the head of marketing and communications. That was my background educationally. And that's what I had worked in even pre-Tangible. I've worked with thousands of companies, in the last 15 years, helping them mainly with customer acquisition, getting their name out there, building their brand. He's like, are you interested? And I'm like, well, what is it? He's like, it's in the insurance space. I'm like, okay. And he's like, I promise it's more sexy than you think.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, just come and have an interview. I had our second baby 4 or 5 weeks previous to this. I was thinking I'd just kind of take a break for a while after Tangible and like kind of breathe and just think about my life. And, it was a painful experience. Very amazing, very transformative through fire.
Yeah, a lot of like dense work in short period of time and growth and hustle. And then like a wall.
And then a wall.
Yeah.
Pretty intense wall. But also like our team everybody on our founding team went through Tangible was built in the valley of the fire of death or whatever they say. Like we had one of our co-founders lose a child during that time. We had several co-founders experience extreme pain in their marriages and in their personal relationships. Travis and I went through a very difficult time. Travis has had some addictions in our marriage and in his life, and that came to light again during kind of the worst point. It was crazy. Like if that's like an entire story in and of itself, that was just a wild, wild time. So I was thinking I'd just take a break, but I get this call and he's like, just come interview. And so I did. And needless to say, it was pretty interesting. So essentially, I worked for PCF. It's in the insurance space. What they do is they buy independent insurance agencies and they pull them in under the umbrella. They're a consolidator. They kind of act as their own private equity firm of sorts.
Okay.
And they have their own M&A team. My buddy from HGGC actually came on and was head of M&A.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of acted as like the CEO, to be honest, of the entire company, but he was over all the M&A activity because that was how we grew. So in a little more than 12 months, we grew from 72 million to 2.3 billion.
Wow.
And
that's exciting.
It was insane. So total national company, agencies all over. They don't rebrand. When we buy them, they don't rebrand. They keep their branding.
Okay.
The owner actually stays involved for a certain amount of time during an earn-out, say 3 years. It was wild. So my team was extremely small, but just really scrappy. And so we were charged with being over the PCF brand and doing all the marketing and communications for the brand or corporate. And then we were tasked with deal flow to the M&A team. They were buying, some weeks it was 3 to 5 companies a week.
That's incredible.
Crazy. And then that team was just a beast. They were very, very small, and the work they did was just amazing.
This would have been through late 2020 for you, through 2021?
This was end of 2020. Yep, exactly. So I started there like September 30th of 2020 and then went all the way through 2021.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people in that time frame had challenges.
Yeah.
And I feel like, especially founders and business owners, they're like it's, I just want to sell this. I'm done. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't be surprised if that makes sense to timing wise to why that works so well, because people, I'm sure, especially in the insurance space, are just like, I'm over this.
Yeah.
Like, this is not what I want to be doing anymore.
And it's their, like, if they don't have a child or something that they want to pass the company down to, then it's a great opportunity for some of these people that are hitting like 50, 60 to sell their agency. The financial space was booming. And so I remember like in our peak, we were paying like 16x EBITDA.
Wow.
It's insane multiples.
That's
in
incredible.
the insurance space. And also insurance is really like recession proof, and everyone needs insurance no matter what, right? So it's a good space to be in. So yeah, like not only were we doing the marketing for the company, but then we became an in-house agency for all of our an in-house marketing agency for all of our independent insurance agencies that we would buy. So think 200 agencies, and we're now their marketing team, because you know that they don't have their own marketing team.
Yeah, helping them figure out how to get more customers and grow themselves.
Build their brand. Some of them have like these really outdated websites. Some of them were very foundational. We had to like lift them into this time frame, to this
word of mouth, old school.
Right. They're like pounding the pavement, knocking doors, the whole thing. So anyway, it's really fun. There's not a lot of like exciting marketing stuff happening in the insurance space. So we found really easy ways to win. And so, yeah, people loved us. Like we were like the most popular kids in that place because we're like wowing them with like some super low hanging fruit marketing crap, like,
We bought 4 agencies last week and they're like, oh, I'm listening.
Right. Exactly. So it was really fun. And we we didn't anticipate going through a transaction for maybe 2 to 3 years. We ended up going through one about 12 months in. At that point, for those of us that had equity in that business, we vest fully. And I was able to walk away and essentially cash out. But right before I did, I got a call from the team that actually invested in Tangible back in the day. They were like, "What are you up to? We've been talking about you and we should talk." And I was thinking I'd take a break. I was pregnant with another baby.
This keeps happening
There's a theme here. I know. We're done. I can't say that enough. Sure enough, they were like, "Let's start another thing."
Were they like PE family office?
It's like a family office.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just a rad group of people that are mainly in the e-commerce space. Actually, they have e-commerce companies as well as technology and services that service e-commerce. So very aligned. And they were like, "Well, let's swing something up again." And I really love that whole team. Very well aligned from we were talking culture earlier. Culture standpoint, it's like such a good fit. And for me, it's so much more about the people that I get to work with and for, and the mentorship and opportunity that comes from that than what I'm selling or what I'm doing. I mean, I don't know that I ever would have gone in insurance if there weren't exciting opportunities associated with that, with people that, are doing great things. I jumped on board so fast.
Wait, how long was that gap? Like a few weeks or what?
Oh, it was less than 2 weeks. It was
that's crazy.
It was like maybe a week.
Did you at least get a vacation in?
No way. I was pregnant. I was in the end of whatever. And
wow.
No, it's just we go so hard. And what was so exciting is that that previous year, while I was working for PCF in private equity, Travis's business just took back off because COVID had kind of subsided and people were starting to do events again. And he was able to get back out there. And it's just been
e-commerce
crazy.
Brands were growing and content was more in demand.
Just everything. It's just everything. So and that was the year we really doubled down and just we need to get our heads right,
And that was, what was the mantra that year?
Winners win.
Winners win.
Winners
cool.
win. Winners win, and they keep on winning because they're winning, and that's what they're focusing on.
Yeah, you got to keep the momentum.
You have to keep the momentum.
Because I've lost momentum and had down spells where I'm like, ugh, like last year
blah.
I had one,
Where you feel blah.
Yeah, and
yes.
And you see it you see it in your books, and it's crazy where you're looking at your P&Ls and it's like, well, this is my mindset through that 6-month period.
Crazy, right? That's nuts.
And then, it's hard to get yourself out of it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's getting yourself out of it. It's for me, it was a buying a partner out. So it was I couldn't get out of it until the pen hit the paper and, it was behind me.
It's big stuff.
But it was good.
Well, and it's, it has to happen, but there's a lot of work leading up to something like that. And there's pain.
Yeah. It's negotiating and back and forth.
It's a little bit of a divorce.
Blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's hard.
So
even if the relationship is still good, it's still separating assets and kind of shift. It's so hard. It's so hard. We've kind of experienced that just a little bit with Tangible, with ShareHouse.
So so that's what you spun up then in that time frame is ShareHouse.
Yeah. So
you've been building for a good bit, right?
We were building from November until May. We launched in May.
Okay.
But I also had a baby in there. So there was 3 or 4 months that I was kind of out. So
a little bit slow building still kind of?
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think. I did a little bit. Third baby kind of gets you.
Yeah.
You're
Kelsey
totally outnumbered.
Having one, we're okay, I think we could do 2. And then we're thinking about people that have more than 2 and we're like, holy cow.
I think 3 is more doable when they're not one every year for 3 years. We did 3 babies in 3 years. It's crazy.
Insane. That's crazy. That's impressive.
It also depends on their personality, what kind of baby. Our first one was rough. Second one was an angel. Third one, somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. Alyssa they're both different. Her first was more chaotic and now Sydney's very easy apparently.
Everyone needs that easy, sweet baby.
Mm-hmm.
Can't decide if you should have it on your first or your second.
Yeah.
If your second baby's chaotic, you're not having any more.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So maybe your next one will be.
That's what I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, sorry.
You know what I mean?
I know.
I don't want to jinx it.
You guys have so much time. Oh my gosh, don't worry about it.
We're going to wait a few years, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, let him get to it.
Well,
hopefully he can bring me diapers and stuff. Wells can.
I know.
That'd be great.
I know. Well, and I mean, we didn't really plan it. Three babies in 3 years. I mean, we just didn't have any kids for the first 5 years of being married, and then I don't know. I was just like, well, whatever. I don't really want any kids anyway, you know, because I didn't know what I was missing. Of course.
Yeah.
You're not really like sad about it when you have no idea what you're missing and it looks like a lot of work. So you're like, I'm fine.
And then friends having them and you're like,
oh, that looks horrible.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, I was just like, that looks like a lot of work. And I feel like I'm still trying to figure myself out and my life out. And then just happened. And we were like, oh, well, you know, awesome. We got one. And then we just got boom, boom, 2 more. We're just back to back. Those second 2 are tight.
Yeah.
Our girls. So.
Wow. The thing that always blew my mind about Tangible is that you're working with 2 very ADHD disconnected dudes, you know, and so Travis and I have made up, you know, we've become buddies and
Good.
I went on a trip with him and stuff.
Did you?
Yeah, I went to one of his little.
I'm proud of you.
Well, I owe it to him because, you know, obviously we had our little issue with that project. It was just like, you know, but I know now him and I have talked and it's like at the time he was going through like the buyout and the stress and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and at the time I didn't know that. Yeah. Right. And after he sold the company, that Christmas, he contacted me to apologize. And I was like, man, that means a lot. Yeah. I'm not even worried about it anymore, you know? And then we built a relationship. But then the other thing too, it was big of him, you know, because now that I know Travis and who he is, because I also didn't know his personality yet and like his ways of doing things. Yeah. And then I went on this trip with him and got to know him even more. And him and I spent some one-on-one time like talking about it. He's definitely like working on himself and like talking about it and like, you know, being more open about like, this is where I was and understanding where he was and stuff. And I thought that was great. But
no, I love that you brought that up because a lot of people ask me about that. Like, how was that working with the 2 most ADD people I've ever met in my life? Yeah. Like people say that to me. And everybody says it with endearingly because everybody loves those guys or most people do. But yet Travis is unapologetic. And so there have been maybe some quarrels or some people that maybe have felt rolled over or steamrolled over, whatever the right term is, in the past in some setting or situation. But it's too bad. And I hope that they can give him another chance because Travis is one of the best dudes ever. Yeah, I mean, he has a big heart.
Yeah, that's what came out is once I saw that part of him and he, you know, apologized and I could tell that, you know, I've been in scenarios like that. I get it.
Yeah. So, I mean, we can't do right by every customer and every client. I mean, we all have mistakes. We all have things that fall through the cracks. We all have, you know, projects that just don't land. It's life. Even like those that are just the most incredible executors. They're just things out of our control for sure. And Travis, you know, he has his views and not everybody agrees with those things, but he is unapologetically himself. And I honestly feel like looking at his life and knowing a lot of kind of like the background and history and the hustle that's there, it's like I almost attribute a lot of his success to just this fact that he has this superpower that's just, I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. I'm just going to do my best. I'm going to throw it at the wall and people are going to make fun of it and I don't care. Yeah. It's like if I had half of that, I wonder where I'd be. You know, like I have almost the opposite problem where it's like I care too much about what people think. I've had to overcome that to an extent, still working on it. He has so much confidence. I have the opposite problem. I have no confidence. Not no, but I feel like my natural state is very low confidence. I've had to work on that. I mean, from the outside looking in, very low anxiety. He can handle a lot of pressure. I have very high anxiety. And so that's something I have to work on every single day. I have to keep those things in check. If I had half of those superpowers he has, it's like, man, I wonder where I'd be as an executor. But it was so much fun to be in the shadow of those guys and Scott with his ideas. And Scott's also that same way. Yeah. You know, unapologetic. And became more so that way, I feel like, during Tangible. That was a very transformative year for him. Yeah. Where he leaned into maybe some like personas that he wanted to explore and like be and like kind of build his own brand and personality the way he wanted it. And he was just like dabbling in that and breaking out of his shell. So it's fun to watch him too and build friendships with those guys. Forever indebted, forever love those guys. And always grateful that I got to see them in, you know, behind closed doors and to see the way their brains work, but also the humility and the heart that both those guys have. That you don't have that kind of success without a big heart. And I mean, some people do, but they don't have any friends. Yeah, you know,
it's lonely
those
up there.
Guys, It's lonely up there for sure. And then there's Stefan Vandegraff, who's a beast. He was on our founding team with us. He is a beast. He is the executor behind Travis Chambers and Chamber Media. He's the one.
I don't know if I met him.
He is salt of the earth. Man, that guy, he is amazing. I mean,
was he the one in the ads with him?
Yeah.
Okay,
that's
so the blonde guy?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've seen him.
They're like could be cousins or brothers or something. Yeah, he's
right.
such a good guy, and he's so funny. He's such a good writer. Very, very talented. His baby actually passed away. Let me think.
Oh, I remember Travis talking about that.
It was so
Yeah, we talked about that when
devastating.
I was at his event. That connect the dots, yeah.
Well,
It's
and what was
hard.
so crazy is like Stefan, actually, I'm sorry, going back, Stefan's actually the one who pulled me into this. So I knew Stefan and Travis, and Stefan is actually the one who pulled me into Tangible. He's the one who like, we grabbed lunch one day and I was on maternity leave and I remember, so I had just had a baby and then his wife had a baby a few months later. My oldest and their second baby would be in the same like grade. They were just a few months apart. And I remember like seeing them go through this horrific experience and just feeling so much guilt. Like Stefan gave me the opportunity to have a flexible job and professional career with my firstborn baby, which is something I would not have had if I would have gone back to work. And then to watch him go through such a horrific experience. I mean, it was just to not be able to do anything for someone who,
there's not much you can do.
Right. It's horrible.
But you were doing something by executing Tangible.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it.
Like they could rely on you. So that piece of stress that would be sitting there on them, you're helping take a lot of that off of them.
Hopefully.
So they could focus on what they should be focusing on.
Right.
Because having that kind of like traumatic life event and then not having people like yourself to be there to support and help with the other things that are there that you don't want to just let go because of that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge help. I'm sure he feels that way, but
I hope so. He's such an awesome guy. Yeah. And then Rachel Nilsson from Rags to Riches, who's just like the raddest person you've ever met in your life. She's so much fun. I'm like, man, if we could all be as cool as her, she's so cool.
I've never actually met her.
She is so cool. Everybody who meets her, she's just like approachable and cool and relatable and down to earth. She's just everything. And she's a hard worker. She's a beast herself. And I think her business and her personal life, she was like going through some change. Like Tangible was born in the Valley of the Fire of Death, like I said.
And COVID.
I think we had the perfect team, but there were like outlying situations that happened and COVID was one of them. And it wasn't the right time. And that was something I wanted to come back to earlier when you said something about Josh. It's like, one thing I've learned is you can have perfect market fit with your product or your service, but it doesn't matter if you don't have perfect team fit. You have to have the right people on the bus, or else you're not going anywhere, or you're not going anywhere very well.
Yep.
Oh,
I know that.
And that's something I've learned in ShareHouse even. I had to face that even in ShareHouse a bit. And we just brought on Lindsay Ivey about 6 weeks ago as our COO.
That's exciting.
We are in the zone because it's such a good team fit.
Yeah. It sometimes takes a little trial and error in finding those people.
Yeah.
And you have to let it happen.
Out.
And you also have to make the change and have the eye for it, but actually make the change. Because, removing someone's always difficult.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like, and I've had to do it even recently where it's like, you don't want to do it, but if you don't, you're going to limit getting the right person in that role, which is going to change the trajectory of the company.
Yeah.
It's just so difficult.
It is. It totally is. Because everyone says, it's business, not personal. No, it's personal. It's always personal. Because we all have personal relationships because we're people. And so it's always personal. And so it's hard to like take that jump. Yeah. But I feel like that's something I've really learned, especially recently, having found like such a good fit and seeing the momentum in such a short amount of time that's brought to the business with us, like, and our unique qualities and seeing us work together. It's like a home run. And that's when it's like, who even cares like what we're selling? Like we're going to the moon because of who we are and how well we work together. And we'll figure it out. And we'll find the right product market fit, service market fit, whatever it is. So here we are in ShareHouse. Yeah. And I could tell you a little bit about ShareHouse.
And this started November 2021.
November 2021.
And then came to market in May 2022.
2022.
Okay. And how did you get this to market? Is it, well, what is like the pitch? What is it?
We started ShareHouse to support the e-commerce ecosystem. And so what we're really good at is aligning ourselves with brand founders, CEOs, and their teams. So anyone from the CEO down to the intern, and providing them with really good resources. So those resources could be access to really good capital and funding partners, access to recruiting opportunities and the right people, the right team members on the bus. You know, I sent you Josh. So we're one for one. Let me know the next time you need to hire and I'll send you someone else.
Okay. Well, you've made a lot of good referrals for us.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Kelsey
always goes, ask Madelyne first.
Well, especially now, man, we have people banging down our doors like,
yeah, I need a VP of marketing for Dry.
Yeah,
so
I have a couple people
I need
in
like
mind.
a big player.
Yeah, there's a lot of marketing people here, a lot of really good creative people here. We're in the Mecca, you know? Yeah, access to really good vetted service providers and technology teams, access to mentorship, education. We're actually talking about pulling Tangible School in under ShareHouse as a product. Yeah, we're very excited about that.
So almost similar to the business model of the catering event company you work for.
Oh my gosh.
In a way.
Yes. It's like, we're like the broker of all things. I don't know.
Maybe you didn't know it. And
I guess not. You just barely aha moment. That's an aha moment.
It makes sense. I mean, that's kind of like what I did with development, design, engineering, prototyping, manufacturing. We're going to add packaging and brand design.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah.
But that's more like direct service versus network and connecting is because it's hard as a founder and a new company and having to figure it out to just kind of. It'll cut the time off of getting to profitability. It'll shrink it by having a resource like that.
Yes. And then like we provide these exclusive networking opportunities. Only Brands is a product underneath the ShareHouse umbrella. And that's just for founders and CEOs of companies doing, 10 million or more in revenue, or for founders doing really interesting things, maybe a very interesting product, interesting business model, interesting marketing strategy or go-to-market strategy. There is room in the room for interesting people. And so we're trying to create these safe spaces where they can connect, because in the e-commerce space, as well as many other industries, but especially in e-commerce, the founders want to learn from each other. They hear the experts and the service providers, they hear what they're saying, but I need my founder friend over here to validate it. And so it becomes this like very cool group of people that are sharing and learning and growing together. And that traction, the rising tide lifts all boats, Jason. And that is definitely has already been seen in the Only Brands events. So we have one. I don't have my watch on.
There's an event
we
tonight.
have one tonight.
Yeah, Alicia's going to it.
Oh, thanks for keeping me on my schedule, because I might have missed it. I'm like running so fast. I'm like, is it tomorrow? Yeah, it's in Sandy.
Yeah, Alicia's going to go.
Good.
Yeah. She's like, I'm going to this event tomorrow, and she's been on leave, right now. She's on leave.
Yeah.
But she's like, I could tell she's getting antsy because she's like 3 weeks out, and she's like, Easton's great and I love him, but I just, you need help with anything,
I love it.
She's like, how about I just post the job posting? I know you can do it, but I'm down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, do whatever you want. It's your decision. I'm not, it's your leave.
Yeah.
But then she was like, and I'm going to this event tomorrow.
Good.
I met this girl named Lindsay who invited me, and I'd love to come. I'm going to come down and go to that and this happy hour.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, ShareHouse. I'm talking
familiar,
with Madelyne tomorrow too. So
yes.
That's exciting.
All the roads lead back. Somehow we're all connected. I love it. That's so good. I actually didn't know how she got on the list. Like, I just saw that she got on the list. I told you, we spread the word, like every single one, we kind of barely spread the word. No one even knows who's behind it or what it even is. People are like, what do I wear and who's speaking? It's like, no one's speaking, wear whatever you want.
Yeah.
This is just like a chill
happy hour.
It's fun, Yeah, so we have that one tonight. We are launching trips. We're starting to take founders on trips. We have one at the end of April. We're going to handpick people from all different markets, because we're going to expand Only Brands, these dinners or events, to Austin, New York, LA, San Francisco. And we want to kind of test out a trip and see what that looks like a little bit longer event.
Yeah.
So,
more intimate.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then we have Skynet Syndicate, which is a product underneath the ShareHouse umbrella as well, which is very similar to Only Brands, but it's just for vendors and service providers.
Cool.
And it's a way for them. We've already been aligned with several service providers just kind of by accident since we launched. And we've lined up a lot of co-marketing opportunities for them because we act as this traffic controller. It's like we see into their business because of our work with them. We see into theirs because of our work with them, and we naturally can see the connections. And so we're starting to draw those connections. And now we're building Skynet Syndicate around that and trying to have a really great room of vetted service providers and technology teams, but that can work with us, but also and that we can help, direct and pull into the Only Brands group, but also to help work with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So we're excited about that. We do have a mentorship program that we're building out. It's currently live, but we're further building that out. That we're really excited about.
You have to be a brand of 10 million plus to be a part of it.
No. Everyone's welcome to join ShareHouse in some form or another.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to get on the exclusive list, it's invitation only. It's you have to be on the list. Just because you register doesn't mean that you can come.
Mm-hmm.
We accept and decline. And that's just the way it is. We vet everybody out.
Okay.
And
so Alicia is on there. Yeah. Because I have two brands that have 10 million plus now.
Sign down.
Yeah. Well,
let's get in there tonight.
Well, my business. Well, they are. Dry
and
in my manufacturing business.
Okay, well,
it's a service business.
There
That's
you go.
more than 10, but
well, you guys should come on Friday. Tomorrow we're doing Skynet Syndicate. It's our first
where's
one.
that at?
It's at our headquarters in Sandy. We're in that big glass building that's like right south of like Challenger School with like the big flags.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right there, kind of across kitty corner from the MacU building.
Oh, yeah.
So we're in a really pretty building over there. We have a gorgeous space. We actually have a co-working space in our office. So that's, it's not really part of our business model today, but we have the space and the amenities. We have a top of the line golf simulator for you.
Cool.
So come on down. The kitchen is stocked every day.
Wow. And then is this a membership fee then? Is that how you do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
If people want to join that, like that's just like a cheap membership.
Or what about the ShareHouse in general? Is there a membership?
It's free.
How is it free?
It's free. We are the traffic controller.
How do you make that cheese then?
How do we make that cheese?
Yeah.
I mean, there are several ways that we make the cheese.
Okay, I like that.
But anytime that there is a connection made, I mean, we're the traffic controller, we're the broker, we are the trusted advisor, right? And we're the third party that can build that trust and not have to be like selling something, right? But be more of a connector. And anytime that a connection is made, there's typically a transaction associated.
Oh. Yeah.
And so whether it's a rev share or something of that kind. And so that drives us to find really good partners and to make really good connections because we don't keep the trust of the brand founders and their teams, their operators, their heads of marketing if we are lining them up with poor partners.
Yeah.
And so I mean a $20 million brand.
Yeah. That's how I like.
And honestly, that kind of happened naturally. Like we started just like doing a lot of goodwill, like we were just top of funnel.
Yeah.
Let's build the brand, get the name out there and do a lot of goodwill, service, blessings in heaven. And naturally it's evolved because people want to pay us a piece of the business we've brought to them. But initially it was like, I get a call from a brand in the Valley doing 20 million. And they're like, hey, we need a new marketing agency. We've been working with one. This is what's happened. These are our pain points. We need to move away from this agency. Okay, great. Well, let me line you up with a meeting with several agencies. And
so it's like a recruiting model in a way.
In some ways, like some aspects of the business, yes. Some no. So like this tangible school is just an education piece.
Yeah.
And hopefully that can grow to be something that is a way for founders to actually provide mentorship. There's a lot of founders that are sunsetting right now in Utah and beyond. That's kind of the goal, right? Like they want to sunset at some point from their CEO position and they want to move to the chairman of the board and they want to either start another project or they want to start speaking, getting their name out there. But if they've been kind of heads down in their own business, how are they going to have, their own brand built up enough to have a platform to go do that? We would love to provide them with a way to mentor or create educational content and nest it in tangible school under ShareHouse. They can provide it for free or for a charge or whatever they like, as well as service providers. We'd love to have service providers who come in and share their expertise. That's like the best way to sell, right? Is to share your expertise, peel back the curtain a little bit, roll out the red carpet, share some trade secrets and some case studies, earn their trust. When they need your service, they're going to remember you because it wasn't like this push marketing experience, right?
Also, you educate them on how difficult it is to do what they do.
Well, yeah. You know what? It's so funny. Like in the tangible days, we worked with hundreds of founders. So most of them, what we found is that most of them, 80% of them, they want to learn about it enough to be like dangerous or be able to ask enough questions.
Or be able to manage it.
Right. But they don't want to do it. Only 20% actually wants to like get in, roll their sleeves up and try it. And who knows what percentage actually keeps doing it, once they've figured out what a nightmare it is.
Yeah. Or when they have their 8 tentacles of skills they have to do, they cut that one off and replace themselves there or whatever, you know? So then what's on the roadmap this year other than a bunch of events? Like what,
Yeah. So further expanding the education piece for sure. That's a big one for us. It's natural with tangible. So we're currently in negotiations with the tangible founders, which I am one.
You just talking to a mirror.
Yeah, I am. I'm like, how much are you going to sell this to me for? No, they're all extremely gracious and we all have great friendships there. And so they just want to see it live on. I think we all wanted to see it live on. It was so extremely discouraging to build something so big, so fast, and to see it diminish so fast as well. So much work kind of down the tubes or just put on hold. So I think everybody's excited to see that live on. So tangible is a natural development for us for sure. People need that education. They want that education piece. The private events will continue to do. Recruiting, we're already doing. We need to build a tool around that, but we're already doing it. I mean, a lot of venture capital and private equity firms are reaching out to us because they're buying e-commerce companies. That's a space that's growing in venture. They don't have the resources to recruit. There's a very interesting company that is based out of Scottsdale, and they are looking to hire a CEO. The founder is sunsetting again. There's another example, and so we're doing some active recruiting for them. And we're just in the space. We're plugged in. We're the broker. We're
you kind of get to do what you've always done and do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, like Lindsay and I say all the time, like we have spent our entire careers building everyone else's businesses. And so now we started a business to do that.
That's exciting.
We started a business to help everyone build their businesses.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really fun. Yeah, we have a lot on the roadmap and it's overwhelming, but it's exciting.
Yeah.
Lindsay's good at managing the chaos. Little chaos isn't bad. Too much bad.
Now you need an operator and she's that.
Yeah, there you go.
Is that
we
weird?
are like very co-managing this. Like, I'm like, man, it's like what they say, all those memes I read, that we've all seen. Like, what is it? Just 2 women that are wrapped up in a tissy about something could run the world or something. You know what I mean? And that's what we are. We're wrapped up in a tissy about this. We're excited about it.
That's great.
Yeah. It's good.
So people, I'm guessing, can just follow along online and, and
so ShareHouse is kind of the brand that you can find anywhere. Only brands we by design do not have like a landing page or anything for it.
Yeah.
We like that kind of.
It's just content, distributable content.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Follow sharehouse.com for
and
sure.
Tangible,
like warehouse,
stay
but
tuned. I'm sure following ShareHouse, you'll find out about Tangible.
Yes.
And Tangible's more for the earlier stage companies that can hear from the 10, 20, $30 million companies.
Yeah.
And learn from the founders of those and stuff like that.
Right. Exactly. One thing that came to mind a minute ago too is I think the way that we've seen success just in our startup phase, a minute ago I said push and pull marketing, and going back to that, we've aligned ourselves. In Tangible, we did a lot of push marketing. It was like chasing. And I never want to chase again. I want to know who my ideal customer profile is, and I want to know what they care about, and I want to align myself with whatever that is, and those customers will find me.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that we've done right, is we've aligned ourselves with brand founders. The service providers have naturally found us. Now we're aligning ourselves with customers or with consumers, and the brand founders will continue to find us.
That makes sense.
And now we're expanding to other markets, to affiliate with other interesting brand founders, which only pulls in more brand founders who want to be a part of the exclusive group. And that's like the one thing I could say, I would say to founders just starting out is stop chasing your customer and start chasing what it is that they care about.
Yeah.
Align yourselves with that and your customers will find you.
That's a great field note. Is that one of your field notes?
That's my field note.
How many other field notes? You had a lot of good field notes.
Did
What are
I?
some of the main takeaways? I mean, you could just list out your mantras and those are the field notes.
I don't know. God, these conversations just kind of go.
Winners
We'd have
win.
to have another one another time and more will flow.
Yeah. Well, rising tides, what was
The
it?
rising tide lifts all boats.
Yep. So that's a good mantra / field note.
Yeah, and that
Winners
one's a
win.
good one with like, that one has kind of set the stage for a lot of competitors. I don't care about competitors. Let's play. Let's play together. I don't care. Let's overlap. Let's get to know each other. You want to steal my ideas? I don't care. There's enough fish in the sea. I'll just like go over here and find other fish and sell the same exact thing. You know, I don't care.
Yeah, like with Durai, when competitors knock off my patents or whatever, I see it as an opportunity to increase the value of that patent. So
there you go.
I go and get my,
It's genius.
Yeah, make it work for me.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Well, that's great. So follow you on ShareHouse and LinkedIn and all the Instagrams and everything.
Madelyne Van Hoff and Lindsay Ivy on LinkedIn. And
how many team members do you have now?
Well, it's Lindsay and I, and then we're lucky enough to be our investor. Lean and mean.
Yeah.
Man.
Cool.
It's crazy. But we're actually lucky enough to be a part of a family of brands where they actually provide kind of shared services to the brand. So we have marketing, we have,
and all that stuff.
We have a CFO, we have HR legal. So it's all plugged in, and we actually all work in the same space. So it's perfect. Like it feels like, it's all our team. So we can be mean and lean because we're able to kind of piggyback.
That makes sense.
It's awesome.
It's a smart way to build.
Yeah, it's so
keep the burn rate low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, great. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, that was Madelyne Van Hoff. As you can see, she's got quite a plethora of experience and has had to be scrappy throughout her whole career, which has made her the successful entrepreneur that she is today. She not only left us with a lot of great field notes, but I felt like we should call this episode Founders Mantras. Because I can tell you, ever since we recorded this episode, I've repeated her mantras over and over again in my head, and I could totally relate. And I honestly appreciated those mantras. So winners win, rising tides raise all boats, and keep your head above the clouds. Those are great things. And I like how she moved along throughout her entrepreneurial career, and every year has a different mantra. Sometimes just repeating those things in your head can completely change your mood and your attitude in current situation. I really appreciate that. And it's funny because when we recorded this episode, after I finished recording, because I'm so bad at this, I thought I deleted the audio. So I thought we were going to have to redo this. And when I told her that, she was nothing but positive about it. And instead of, being disappointed like you can be when a problem happens, she was excited about re-recording the episode. And I really appreciated that. And it just is a testament to who she is as a person and why she's become so successful in doing what she does. Winners win. Some other great points that I totally agree with is, being careful with hyperextending yourself financially with your business, and, don't spend too much. It'll, one, obviously hurt your cash flow, but two, it'll put too much pressure on the business. And then by the time you learn what's causing that pressure, it might be too late. So definitely a great field note that all entrepreneurs need to pay attention to, especially as they start getting cash flow and, start taking on employees and team members and creating a burn rate. Another good one is reminding yourself every day why you're doing what you're doing. I think that's a great, mindset to go into the day, whether you wake up in the morning and think about it on a morning walk while you're walking your dogs like Kingston here, or reminding yourself like why you're doing this every day. Because if you come up against something hard, sometimes you do need to look in the mirror and remind yourself like, what is the whole point of all of this? Connect with that goal again. It can give you the motivation to get through whatever you're getting through. I like that mindset. Just remind yourself why you're doing this. It's good to check in with yourself and make sure that is still there for you. That motivation is still there for you. That's also where those mantras can come in handy. I love the point she made about not chasing your customer, but chasing what your customer wants. I think that's a great point when figuring out how to communicate and sell to your customer. If you go aggressively at your customer and, push too hard, you could scare them away or just put a bad taste in their mouth. So I really like the thought of just focusing on what they need And, if you dangle that carrot in front of them, they'll come back to you or they'll come to you. So that's a great mindset, especially when you're building a B2B service or, building a product that speaks to a specific customer. If you understand what their needs are, you can build something that really solves that problem for them. And they will come and they will purchase that product. And with that, in order to do that, obviously understanding your customer profile and who they are and what they need. So once you really have a deep understanding that it's easy to know what to build, what to launch next, what to create, and how to speak and market to that customer consistently. But obviously, in order to do that, you really have to have that deep understanding. And, some of the ways to do that are obviously setting that target. Maybe you fit the customer profile, so you're building something that can work for yourself, but also many other people, or using tools like doing surveys and so on and so forth to collect data and information and talk directly to those customers and ask them what they actually need. A lot of the clients that I work with that put a lot of effort into doing those surveys and asking their customers have created some of the more successful businesses because they create something that they know is going to sell and solve that problem. And that's incredibly valuable to do up front before creating something. Anyway, thanks for listening. Madelyne Van Hoff, great episode. Really appreciated her coming by. Check us out on all the social media platforms, Founders Field Notes, Klugonyx, and we'll see you next week. We're switching to a weekly episode schedule now, so you'll see us more consistently, and we're very excited about it. Lots of exciting guests ahead. Stay tuned.